Hi, I'm Aperture Grills, and this is a quick submission video for Marathon Infinity on Total Carnage, the hardest difficulty. This is the equivalent of Legendary in the Halo series. Before watching this, you should watch my submission commentary for my kindergarten run because that explains how the game works and most of what I do. This run is pretty similar. So I'm mainly going to talk about the differences between Kindergarten and Total Carnage in this run. So I'm going to start the video and I will explain what's going on. So the first difference comes right here in the first level. We still have to go hit this secret switch, but the enemies are a lot more aggressive. It's a little random what happens there in that room. Sometimes they'll all pile in and you have difficulty getting out. So, and then this, yeah, those three can also sometimes give you grief. It's also important to start shooting that enemy as soon as possible so that he doesn't kill you or knock you off. This level, other than the Enforcer having more health and being more dangerous, is pretty much the same. The other enemies that aren't Enforcers are on my side, and so I'm not really concerned about them, except that if I do shoot them, they will aggro on me, and that's bad, so I don't want that. So I'll talk a little bit during this about the history of this run. So Cody Miller, who has sort of a infamous reputation for running the Halo games, at one point routed and ran this game. So you can see that fighter, the skinny guy, even though he was on my side, I shot him, and so I had to kill him because otherwise he was going to kill me. And then I'm getting the secret assault rifle. This is all just like Kindergarten. Yeah, Cody Miller routed and did a segmented run of this game on Total Carnage in 2 segments, splitting halfway through the game. And his time was, I believe, a 24:55. And so this is the first run I have gotten that beat his time, and then, you know, this is single segment. This is not a deathless run. I do have 1 death, but it's at the very end, and it doesn't cost me more than like 30 seconds or so. So I happened to make a few mistakes making that grenade jump, but it didn't really cost me anything other than a little bit of time. Again, 2 for the price of 1. I just go on Total Carnage. I pick up a bit more ammo here just for safety. And then following that, the 2 electric sheep levels are exactly the same as on Kindergarten. Just do the grenade fly, and then go to the teleporter and do another one. So, the reason why my run is now significantly faster than Cody's is not just due to better execution. It's primarily due to a couple of significant route improvements. The first one is on the very first level. He did not know about that switch behind the wall, and so he did the level the intended way, which takes like 2 minutes more or something. So you can see here, I had some trouble sniping that switch. With no crosshairs, it can be a little difficult, but I did eventually get it. And then you have to do this kind of difficult jump. And then I actually take a different exit off of this level than I do on Kindergarten, though it ultimately leads the same place. This route just gets me slightly more ammo, and I use a lot of ammo on the next couple of levels. So the next level is actually, even though it has a lot of combat, it's basically the same as on Kindergarten because I'm fighting against Bobs, who are the humans. And like, the amount of damage you take from and the behavior of the Bobs is not really different between the different difficulty levels. They're pretty much the same because this is sort of, you know, Marathon Infinity is a little bit like a mod for Marathon 2, and no levels of Marathon 2 ever have you fighting against the Bobs, so they didn't bother to sort of, you know, scale them for different difficulties. What is different is how those Svit, the big purple cloaked guys, behave, but there's very few of them, and so it's not really a big deal. They do shoot homing shots, but there aren't enough of them to really cause me much grief. I can just kind of run by. And then there's actually a shortcut in this section that I just learned about the other day that I haven't incorporated into my PB yet. But for both Kindergarten and Total Carnage, when I do go try to improve the record more, I will be using that. I would still like to complete this game deathless, which I did not quite get, which, as you'll see, it's at the very end of the run, and I was kind of disappointed that it happened the way it did, but it was okay, because it's a pretty fast time regardless. So now you can see we're entering the end of this level. This is a long series of narrow, dark hallways full of fusion bobs, and it's pretty difficult. They shoot these charge shots at you, and those take out like 2/3 of a bar of health in one hit. It's rough. So dealing with this section in particular, I kind of stole that strat from Cody, just sort of gunning them down with shotguns. Then I took a bolt right to the face at the end, but it's okay because the next level gives you a 2x health can right at the start. Now this level is the one that is the most different on Total Carnage and is by far the hardest, even just right here. So this hunter, rather than being a pushover, has a ton of health. And then I'm actually going to go a slightly different way right here. I'm going to kill these two cyborg enemies because I do have to enter this area of the level later, and I don't want them to be here giving me hassle. And then you can see there's lots and lots of Svit, including invisible ones that are nearly impossible to see. The beefier version of the invisible Svit are more transparent, as well as being hardier and shooting homing shots. And on Total Carnage, every single enemy is always its major version rather than its minor version, which is why every hunter is green, every trooper is purple, etc. Those are all the like palette swapped major versions of the enemies. So you can see I'm having to be careful, and okay, this section in particular across this bridge is very difficult. You've got multiple things shooting you from multiple sides. The way I happened to play it this time I thought looked pretty cool because of dodging all of these spit bolts. Yeah, I was happy with how that went. There's a lot of ways that particular section can go wrong, but as soon as I get up here, I'm pretty much home free for the level, especially because before I have to fight anything else I can go get more health if I need it. In this case I didn't. Then just have to kill a few more things to get over to the last switch that I have to hit before I can leave the level. Pretty much ignore those guys and just run in, hit the switch, and get out. And then we just go to the end. Now the next level actually also has significant combat differences compared to its kindergarten variant. It still is mostly about hitting these switches and then waiting for the big doors so that I can break these panels. But here, I can't just run past these enemies. I have to kill them. And so, conveniently, they gave us a bunch of rockets at the end of the prior level, so I can just kind of massacre this hallway with impunity. Unfortunately, I did take one grenade to the feet, but it ended up working out. And then, okay, so troopers, the purple guys, with sort of wide bodies, are the most difficult enemies to deal with on Total Carnage by far. The reason for that is that they have a gun that's basically just like your assault rifle. So from a long range, they will spam grenades at you as fast as possible, which is faster than you can shoot them, I might add. And once you get close, they will use their primary fire, which is rapid fire and hit scan, and they can kill you really, really quickly, especially if there's more than one of them. So the best way to deal with them that I have found is to fire grenades at their feet, because it will, especially on a low gravity level like this, it pushes them up into the air. So, okay, I think, yeah, I used the rocket launcher on that one, but there's sort of an unavoidable fight here with a bunch of them. And so I'm kind of trying to hit grenades at their feet, because when they're in the air, they don't do anything. They can't move. Okay, and then I was sort of considering what I was going to do, and then this actually that was almost really bad, because I ran towards him with only the end of a magazine of AR ammo, and so you can see really quickly he took me from full red health to about a third before I was able to take him out. And then just now that this level is pretty cleared out, at least the lower section, I'm gonna go around and hit these panels, deal with this hunter, who, I mean, he could still kill me, but the hunters aren't nearly as scary as the troopers, just because they don't have explosive projectiles, nor do they have anything that has hit scan, and so you can pretty well circle strafe them. You can even take them out with your fists on Total Carnage. It just takes a while. And then, so this upper section is full of Svit, and I don't want to deal with them. So I have to do some dodging and make sure that I'm just moving through this area as fast as possible in order to hit this final panel and then leave before they come down and start to try and kill me. The third Electric Sheep level is also the same as on Kindergarten. There is one minor detail. So those little guys that are flying around that the Enforcer is firing at, they're called ticks. And on Total Carnage, the version of ticks that spawn are ones that explode with a very high damage when they die. And so occasionally the Enforcer will happen to shoot a tick right when it's above you, and it'll fall onto that platform and blow up, and then it kills you, which it's frustrating. Fortunately, there is a save that I can take at the very end of the level before that, so I would do that in a marathon setting, and so then I could just reload and try it again. Eat the Path, this level is also basically exactly the same as on Kindergarten. There's really no significant difference. There are these invisible compilers, or SVIT, wandering around, but I mean, you're just moving so fast that you don't really have to deal with their shots, and you keep picking up these 1x cans every time you teleport out of the lava. So like here, you can see they're firing towards me, but I can just kind of avoid it, fall in the lava, take the teleport, get another can, and then go to the end of the level. And at this point, because I'm after this chapter screen, which by the way, this is the end of Cody's first segment in his run, I lose all my weapons and ammo and health, and so I'm not really concerned about what I do on Eat the Path, which is the previous level. Now this level is another one that plays significantly different on Total Carnage. There's a couple strats that I do just to manipulate the movement of enemies so that I can get around them without having to fight them, like you're about to see here. So I walk over and stand in front of those stairs because it wakes up those two fighters that are going to come down. I stole this strat completely from Cody, but it works really well. It's super reliable. And then, so that guy shoots homing shots, which are really scary. And so doing that room and then this room in a particular way in order to wake up and then have the enemies move far enough to get them out of your way is, it works pretty well, and definitely makes the run safer. So now I'm going to pick up a yellow can, so I get 2x health. This is definitely slower than the way I do it on Kindergarten, where I do a assault rifle fly over to this platform and hit the switch, but it's a bit safer, and it means that if I don't get hit on this level, I can carry that 2x health forward into the next level, which saves me a little bit of time. And I don't think that ended up happening in this particular run. I'm also getting some more ammo, which I need for the rest of the game. I shoot that guy because if he does wake up, then he'll move and I can't run past him. If he doesn't wake up, then I can just run past him without shooting him. But I want to stun him in place with the shots so that I can always move past him with no problem. So now we're going to do the actual objective of the level, go hit these 2 panels, and then you saw there's a bunch of blue fighters, the projectile fighters, on the stair that comes back. So I have to deal with them. There's also a cyborg behind me, but I just ignore it. So, yeah. And once we're at this point, we're basically just heading back to the beginning, and there's not really a whole lot else that can be problematic. So here's a cool little thing. So these cyborgs, depending on where they are in the hallway, you can actually just completely run around them. Don't have to fight them at all. So that's why I woke them up and then walked away, so that in the hopes that they would go into the hallway and then I could skip by them. And I'm grabbing a little more ammo. Okay. Thousand slimy things. This is another level that you're fighting the bobs, and so like I talked about earlier, it doesn't really vary between Kindergarten and Total Carnage, as they have the same AI. Yep, so I did end up needing to get that second yellow can there, but it was fine. Now, this was the first time I had made it this far deathless. And so I was really nervous about pulling this jump off, and so I took a long time setting it up, and because I wasn't confident of my first couple setups, I aborted and tried again, which you're gonna see here. This definitely cost time, and I intend to, you know, while I continue trying to get an actual deathless completion of the game, do this faster, obviously. Just in this particular run, I really wanted to make sure that it worked. The thing is here, like this setup, I mean, it's not really easy to tell, but it's really hard to make sure that you're going straight up and not drifting to the left or right at all. And if you are drifting, so there I eventually got it. If you are drifting, then you're going to get pushed off to the side, and then the second grenade isn't going to give you enough height like you need, and then, you know, then it's bad, and you don't want that, because you can't try it again. Okay. This level plays basically the same as on Kindergarten. This is the other level that has a very significant time improvement compared to the way that Cody routed this game. What he did is used a secret switch that unlocks this whole catwalk sequence that you're supposed to run through before getting to the basement. But what TBCR and I realized more recently is you can just do this and then run around along here and take this secret back way into the basement. Now, if you watch the Kindergarten run, you'll notice that I don't bother to try and kill those bobs on the platform. I just make a run for it, and I don't really care if they hurt me. Now, the reason why I do that is because lava does a lot more damage to you on Total Carnage than it does on Kindergarten. So I can't survive this section where you wait for the elevator to come out of the lava with as little health as I could on Kindergarten. And so that's why I take it a little more careful, and I kill all of the bobs before going over there so that they don't do as much damage to me. This level, again, the same, just snipe the switch, walk on the teleporter. This level also plays basically the same. These Flicta, also called Yetis, are more aggressive, but they really don't pose a threat. Yeah, once I've made it to this point, like really, once I've made it past that level with the unintended route, which is called Converted Church in Venice, Italy. Bungie had interesting level name sensibilities. Then I'm pretty much home free. It's not quite home free, as you'll see, because I died on the last level, but it gets a lot easier from that point. So finishing it out is mostly a task of just having good movement, you know, making sure you're strafe running everywhere, going the right way, and trying not to get hurt too much. That's the shortest level of the run. And now this one, you get a little bit of a breather here while you're waiting for this platform to go down, and then again I play it just like on Kindergarten. The only real difference is that the big gray fighters that I have to kill have like 3 times as much health as at least. So you'll see I just like dump magazines into them in order to kill them. But it's still worth it because it means you get to skip a good little bit of the last level. So here I wake up those guys so that they so that they come down. You can see I'm grabbing lots of ammo for the for this gun, the flechette gun, which is what they added in Infinity, because this gun has a really high damage output, and so it's useful for killing these guys. But it still takes kind of a while. Part of it was me being nervous and missing them, but they really do have just a ton of health. So then I grab that uplink chip and then do this grenade jump. Okay. And then note that I saved. That will become important in just a second. So I tried to do something ballsy here because I was like, oh, I have half a bar of red health. Like, there's no way that there's only one real way that you can die. And I'm about to do it. It is that. If you don't quite take the right path past those hunters, then they will massacre you. And there is a way to play this safer, which I'm about to do, which is if you take a little bit longer here, you can make sure that this yellow can spawns, and then I'll have full yellow health. And then, of course, the sweet irony is that they didn't shoot me at all the time that I did that. So, you know. So this level, if you're wondering, is actually extremely large. We only visit a small part of it, but it's as large as the engine can handle. It has 1024 polygons, which is the most that you can have in a map in Marathon. And all of the different failed timelines of the game have levels, like end in levels that are kind of subsets of this one, indicating, you know, you've ended up in the same place. So that's the end of the game. Indicating you've ended up in the same place, but you failed somehow, and so... yeah. That's about it. That's Marathon Infinity on Total Carnage in just over 23 minutes. Other than the death, I'm really proud of this run, and it would be super cool to get to show it off, especially because it's really infeasible, I think. At least I'm not good enough yet to play Marathon 1 or 2 on Total Carnage, just because you don't have the same ability to skip most of the difficult parts that you do in this game. There are levels that we do not play that are incredibly frustrating and hard on Total Carnage in this game, but we don't have to play them, so yeah. I think it's kind of a cool thing to show off. There was once this whole culture of, vid mastering this game. It's like start on each level with just 1x health in your pistol and see if you can beat it on Total Carnage. And this speedrunning never really was a thing for this game back in the day, but I think the old vid masters would think this is cool, beating the game so fast. Anyway, that's all the rambling I really wanted to do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for considering it. Goodbye. Well, I'll let this ending screen play out. You are Destiny. Spoiler alert. Yeah, Bungie likes to kind of tie narrative threads between their different games. So the fact that this ending screen back in 1996 said "You are Destiny," that wasn't an accident. Okay, now that is actually the end of the video. Yeah. Once again, I'm Aperture Grills. This was Marathon Infinity on Total Carnage. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.